When you're making a pivot or a change, and that could be in a role within your own organization, to a new organization, maybe even to a new discipline, the reality is you're going to experience a lot of things. The first thing is you're going to experience probably a little bit of what lots of people like to call imposter syndrome. You're going to have a moment where you're going to feel like, is this what I thought it was going to be? And actually, am I able to do this in the ways I thought I was going to be able to do it? So the first expectation you should have is like, I'm going to probably question myself a little bit as I step into that new role or that new experience. That's the first thing. The next thing that you should be expecting when you walk into this net new role is you may potentially be challenged by others around you about whether or not you're capable of doing exactly what you are setting forth to do. And while that's kind of their problem, the reality is you are going to be able to do it. There's plenty of experiences that you've had that are transferable. And yes, you may be learning along the way, but you're likely probably able to do exactly whatever the role is requiring of you. And it's just about maybe you're doing it for the first time. So you may have a little imposter syndrome and you're probably going to get challenged along the way. But the other things that you should expect are you're going to learn. You're going to learn something about yourself, and you're going to uncover new strengths and new capabilities that you didn't know you probably had, or potentially you're going to learn something new because you're in a new environment, a new role, you're going to meet new people, or you're in a new organization. And so those are three things you should absolutely expect realistically stepping into a new role. You should expect to have a moment where you're questioning yourself. You should expect to be challenged by those around you, and then you should expect to learn. And those three things are the core of what this pivot is going to have in store for you. And the last thing that I will say is you should absolutely expect that you can do it and that you will have the impact you seek to have. Now, it may not happen overnight, it may take a moment, it may take a beat, but you will have a positive impact, and you are capable of doing exactly what you are setting out to do. So those are the four things you should expect during your pivot. When you're making this career change, some of the challenges that you should expect are, you may run into a few folks who are not sure about you. As I mentioned, that's something that will likely happen. People are going to challenge you, and that's okay. Right? That should be expected. And the reality is you'll likely grow from that challenge. Now, people have to respect you, and you should never feel like it's okay for people to disrespect you or to undercut you or undermine you in any way. But you should expect that one of the challenges you're going to incur is people questioning you a little bit. They're going to you're going to buck up a little. And so you should be prepared for that. Another thing is you are going to be learning something for the first time and potentially doing some things for the first time. Whenever you step into that new role, and maybe it's the biggest role of your career yet, it's going to really push you, right? You're going to be outside of your comfort zone. You're going to be doing things maybe differently than you've done them before. You're going to be responsible for other things. And that is going to be a little leery and maybe put a little weight on you. But again, you're going to be able to navigate that, and ways to think about navigating that is to reach out to your community, your mentor, your manager, and really seek a little bit of support, maybe depending on whether or not it exists in your ecosystem, some sort of a buddy or some thought partner that you can talk to just to help you think about how to navigate this new learning, right? But those are going to be some pretty standard challenges as you step into this new role. This idea of like, hey, I'm going to be challenged by folks who don't know me. They're going to pressure test me. They're going to make sure that I know exactly what I'm doing. This will likely happen very quickly, so not something to be super leery about. But the other thing is you're going to be learning something new, and it's going to stretch you. And I think the most important thing you can do in that particular situation is remain coachable. Remain open to insights from all around you. Remain open to insights potentially from members of your team, people that you are managing, staff that you are leading, right? But also those in your partnerships, your peer set, people outside of your organization, and then obviously leaders and managers within your organization. So really seek out those opportunities to pour into yourself and to continue to grow as you learn. A lot of us tend to step into a new role or step into a new opportunity, and we have our own personal timelines. We come up with a list of milestones and ideas and thoughts, and at times that's not going to play out exactly as we would have hoped. And so when you are feeling that, you're feeling like, wow, this isn't matching my expectations. Maybe for some reason the project got delayed or something is a little off track. That can really make for a somber moment at times, because you likely are your own biggest critic. If you're anything like me, you absolutely are your own biggest critic. And so what's going to be important to remember during these moments is that the reality is, that's going to happen. You can't control everything, but if you are taking stock, you're keeping the people informed that need to be informed, and you're doing your best, then you're likely going to be just fine. But again, focusing on thinking about how does this connect back to the organization, having the right level of communication and transparency with those that are going to be impacted, etc., is going to help you navigate that moment of challenge and get through it. And honestly, it's also a really interesting opportunity to add to your own personal brand about being the kind of leader who can weather the storm, who's going to keep people informed and bring them along on the journey. So while it's going to be challenging, I think focusing on the fact that you have the opportunity to continue to own the narrative, communicate with impact, communicate effectively, motivate your team and motivate others around you, you have all the skills to take this over the line and to move through this challenge and this maybe potential small setback, as long as you are really intentional about communicating and effectively engaging those that are a part of this experience with you. And I think that is key. And again, remember, you've got all the things you need. It's just about putting it all into practice. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share.